Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to MTGO Traders. My name is Taryn, and let's talk about, once again, the buy box promos and maybe some solutions moving forward. So in between Monday and today, Friday as this video is going out, I did some research, looked at all of the buy box promos, and kind of came up with some interesting information for us. So let's bring up the buy box promos here, starting with, of course, Honor of the Pure. This is coming from Core Set 2010. This is, again, 8 years ago. This was released July 17th, 2009. So, you know, a while ago. Well, not 8 years ago. This is actually a little bit more than 8 years ago. So, what, 9 years ago and some change? Kind of crazy, honestly, of the information I kind of came up with. So let's go through the cards really quickly and just kind of show you kind of how like roller coaster kind of feel it is. Honor the Pure, at the time, a decent card. I remember this because I've been in Magic throughout all of the buy box promos, looking through here, because I came back around 2009-ish. And Mirrodin Besieged, Zendikar, around Zendikar M10 is when I came back to Magic. After Kamigawa in high school. Honor the Pure, okay, not bad, pretty decent in that particular standard environment. So definitely would sell a box if you're in white. Day of Judgment, great card, really good limited card. This was coming from Zendikar. Next one is World Wake, which is Celestial Colonnade, one of the best buy box promos overall. I feel like a lot of people would agree with me on that, especially in the modern environment. Rise of Eldrazi is Draws, which is basically a good EDH card, and is actually a few bucks as well, so not too bad as far as like growth over time within the modern EDH commander environment, that kind of thing. Magic 2011, you had Birds of Paradise, a huge breakout card. Again, good card as a buy box promo, good card overall the modern format and every other formats. Moving up here, we have Scars of Mirrodin, which is a Memoricide. I don't even remember this card. I played Standard at F&M's during this environment, and I don't even remember this card. That's how bad it was. New Phyrexia, Mirrodin Crusader. Actually saw this during the Pro Tour, I think it was one of the modern decks perhaps, but Mirrodin Crusader, good card, kind of is aged okay. And next up we have M12, which is this one was Mirrodin Besieged. This one is New Phyrexia, sorry about that. Surgical Extraction, again, one of the best cards in Modern. You kind of see this little flow is like, it kind of does this, and then it goes down, and then it goes back up again, on the first couple of sets especially. Magic 12 here is Chandra's Phoenix, kind of a nothing card. Was redone, I believe, in a Amonkhet's block, something, I don't remember because of that new set symbol there. Moving up here, we have Devil's Play. This was from Innistrad block. Kind of sad this wasn't like a really good rare. Devil's Play was a card that was interesting in the standard environment. I never really saw any kind of play, but probably wouldn't sell any boxes either for Devil's Play itself. Gravecrawler, though, on the other hand, in Dark Ascension, amazing card, great card in Modern still. Kind of still getting there with the Zombie Tribal deck. I love this card a lot. Next up for Avacyn Restored, Silverblade Paladin. It's not great, it's not bad, it just kind of exists. Then we have a Cathedral of War from Magic 2013. Again, kind of another card that doesn't really like matter that much anymore. But definitely a card that probably wouldn't be that great, especially in Avacyn Restored environment, because I played that area, so didn't really remember this card being a thing at all. And didn't really care for it at all at that point either. Though we have this Supreme Verdict. This is Return to Ravnica, looking at the list over here. Return to Ravnica, again, one of the best modern cards right now for Control. Amazing card overall, and just was an amazing card. Basically made Control a deck in Standard at the time. Great card. Nightfield Spectre, kind of an okay card in Standard, but not really seeing any kind of play anywhere else. This was coming in with Gate Crash, and then Dragon's Maze had Render Silent, which is a card that doesn't matter. No one plays it, and no one played it even in Standard. Really. Next, though, in 2014, we had Ratchet Bomb. This is a card that is actually not bad. Does see quite a bit of Modern play, but a card that was really good in Standard as well, so would definitely sell some boxes for sure. Next up, we have Sylvan Caryatid. This was from Theros block. Super great card in Limited as well. Very, very good hit. Born of the Gods, Fated Conflagration, I think that's how you pronounce it. Not that great. Kind of exists again. One of those cards where it's weird. It's like they have two hits and then they have a hit, then they have a miss, and then two hits and then a miss. And next up here we have Eidolon of the Blossom. This is another miss, but a card that's in the new Commander decks moving forward. So that's interesting, kind of interesting information to kind of think about. That's Journey into Nyx there. 25, Magic 2015, not 25, Magic 2015. Goblin Rabblemaster. This is a card that everybody kind of points to as like, this is why the promo buy box promos were good. Again, Rabblemaster was a good card in Standard Environment, not a great card, and definitely not a format-defining card until it was kind of too late and the rotation happened. So, good card, kind of an okay card in Modern as well. So, a couple bucks right now in the Modern environment, the larger environment. Moving up here, we have Rattleclaw Mystic, Cons of Tarkir. Again, this was a good card for the Tarkir block, so definitely would have sold some boxes. But again, nothing really kind of like ridiculous. Kind of like how Birds of Paradise, like it's kind of an essential card, just like how if they ever did shock lands or dual lands or something like that as the buy box promo, it would be an essential card in the deck archetype of the time. But it's kind of a card that like doesn't have much punch, much impact, and you definitely want the buy box promos to have punch and impact. And Radical Mystic at the time just did not. Moving up here, we have Shamanic Revelation. I remember this card, and remember it not being that great. So that was Fate Reforged. And Dragons of Tarkir, you have Ojadai's Command. So this was a card that was kind of hyped up a lot in the previous season of Dragons of Tarkir. It was a card that did not see kind of any play outside of that. Kolaghan's Command is definitely the knockout star of the command cards from the Dragons blocks. So kind of missed the mark there as far as this card, but close, but not seeing any kind of play in older formats. Now, Relic Seeker is in Magic Origins. This was kind of the card that was like similar to how they were trying to say this was similar to the Stoneforge Mystic card from like kind of the Zendikar block. Not the same at all in any kind of way. Don't really like this card at all. I feel like this card was a huge dud, especially because there were so many good cards in Magic Origins overall, and this is just not one of them. So, kind of sad there. Moving up here, we have Ruinous Path from the Battle for Zendikar block or set. Great card. Always saw a lot of play in that particular format, and loved this card overall in that standard format. Doesn't really see much play in older formats, Modern, that kind of thing. Next up, we have Oath of the Gatewatch, which is Goblin Dark Dwellers. This card actually saw quite a bit of play in Standard, kind of some tinkering. I feel like this is a little bit tinkered with in Modern, but not that much. Kind of in a card that like had maybe some impact at the beginning of that Standard environment, but kind of fizzled after a while. Moving up here, we're kind of getting closer and closer to stuff that's, closer to where we are presently. Shadows over Innistrad had the Elusive Tormentor. This card was terrible, and kind of no one played it. It was good and limited. That's about it. Really terrible card as a buy box promo. Thalia, Heretic, Cathar. Again, this is kind of a flavor card. Very, very good for that. Is a card that is sideboarded sometimes in Modern and older formats, but nothing really to like be excited about either though. Skyship Staller. This is where we kind of get to the Kaladesh block here, where it just everything just kind of falls apart. You have Skyship Stalker, which is basically an intro pack rare. Really bad. People are kind of playing with it right now because of the Dragon stuff in current Standard, but just really not moving any kind of box. Nothing that I would say is amazing. If I got this as the promo, I'd be like, all right, whatever. Scrap Trawler. This is a card that sees some Modern play, especially in the artifact combo deck right now. Right now in Modern. Super good for that. The Ironworks deck, Ironworks combo deck. But besides that, not really going to see much play. Never really saw much play in Standard to begin with. So not a big impact there for that. Really would have enjoyed a Heart of Kieran or something like that from the 8th Revolt block that was a little bit more impactful. And then you have Archfiend of Ifnir from the Yaman-Ket block. It's okay. Again, it's kind of good in like specific decks in Standard. Never going to see anything outside of that though. Wildfire Eternal. Again, both of these cards I feel like were just like intro pack rares. Kind of the same thing with the Scrap Trawler and the Stalker. Just they're kind of like intro pack rares. And then Burning Sun's Avatar definitely feels like an intro pack rare for sure. Great limited bomb, but you're never going to see it in Standard really. Captain's Hook, same thing. It's kind of a card that no one plays, which is kind of sad. But yeah, there's no reason to. It's kind of terrible to begin with. Then you have the cards where they just kind of made up cards for the buyback promos to kind of bring people back. Firesong and Sunspeaker, kind of messed that up. Decent card, good in Commander, but that's about it. And then Nexus of Fate, which is the newest one, a card that's breaking Standard right now, and is one of the most expensive, if not the most expensive card in Standard. I think it has gone down a little bit in the Standard environment. But yeah, a great card overall. So I have some information here to pull up to talk about the cards right now. So there are 37 buy box promo cards starting from core set 2010. There are 17 that are over $1. And then there are 6 over $5. So you'll see how it kind of starts to kind of decay there. And 5 of those 6 cards, as far as the cards that are over $5, basically excluding Nexus of Fate, they kind of all start going from Gravecrawler and going back. I think Gravecrawler is just at or just above $5. So the last card that was of any kind of worth, as far as like a buy a box promo, a card that didn't really decay over time, was Gravecrawler, and that was 6 years ago. 6 years ago, guys. So I feel like we've had this problem for a long time. I feel like the last good buy a box promo we've had was probably Goblin Rabblemaster. Ruinous Path is probably the other one that I can kind of point to from Battle for Zendikar. There's kind of a couple sets in between 2015 and Battle for Zendikar. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 sets in between that, so the cons block basically. You know, it's crazy how looking at the actual like numbers here and looking at the actual buy box promos and saying, you know, these cards are kind of bad, and most of them are kind of bad, like more than most of them, like almost all of them, basically. If 6 are only over $5 and there are 37 of them, that means, you know, 31 of them are almost kind of duds, or just kind of cards that are just kind of played like, you know, marginally in older formats. Now, like kind of the argument here is that, well, buy box promos are really here to push the standard environment. They're here to push standard only, and people to get people to buy boxes for the current environment, which is the most popular, which is standard. I can kind of agree and also disagree with that kind of thought there. I think that it's smart to kind of market towards the demographic of standard, because those are the people that are definitely the most excited maybe about the environment. Those are the people that want to buy the boxes. But at the same time, you have these collectors, you have people who are investing in Magic the Gathering, you have these people who are playing Modern, looking at the image like galleries of the cards as they're being spoiled and saying, ooh, this would be really good in like the Humans deck in Modern, this would be really good in another combo deck in Modern, and wanting to invest in that. And we don't really reward those players at all. And those are the players that really spend like the most money per card in the Magic the Gathering kind of community. A lot of people say like, oh, well, Standard's really expensive, but I'm like, yeah, but those decks are, you know, they can range anywhere from like $65 to the upper echelon, which is now like $500, thanks to some stuff being really good in Modern. But Modern decks start at like, you know, 500 and go up from there. And then you go to like Vintage and Legacy, and those can be like a small vehicle as far as like how much they cost. So I understand the argument that you have to continue to buy cards for Standard, but at the same time, it's like, you know, Standard is one of those environments that it's supposed to be kind of cheap, and cards in situations like Nexus of Fate is a card that kind of like tilts that against the it's supposed to be cheap kind of argument for Standard. So here's just kind of some advice I feel like I kind of surmised from this, and something that I wish I could kind of send to Wizards of the Coast. If you're listening or watching this video, hi, what's up? Really love a lot of the buy box promos as far as like the flavor, but I think we need to really balance flavor and utility, and you know, like the ability to kind of have a card that doesn't decay over time and look really poor. You know, go back 3 cards, and you have Captain's Hook, which is a nothing rare that no one cared about. Then you have Burning Sun's Avatar, again, kind of a nothing rare no one really plays or cares about. Now, it is kind of a flavorful card. It does do a lot of fun stuff, but it kind of does nothing overall in the environment that like it's built for, which is Standard. So really good for Modern and limited play, but not Modern. Good for limited and sealed play, but that's about it. So, you know, I'm just kind of just sitting here looking at the cards and just being like, at what point did we go from Celestial Colonnade to Captain's Hook and think that that was okay and think that that was acceptable for a buy box promo? Now, we have that side of the argument, but we also have the side of the argument that is, you know, well, why don't we just make new cards and put them into the buy box, and like that will be the seller. That'll be the seller that actually brings people in. One, it may have brought people in, may have had a boom to the actual market as far as people buying boxes. But I think that wasn't the real reason people weren't buying boxes. The real reason people weren't buying boxes was just that the buy box promo wasn't a good enough incentive. And making new cards like this where collectors have to buy the box from a WPN store, I feel like that's kind of, I don't know if it's kind of like blackmailing a person to buying boxes early to improve your revenue. But it feels like it. It certainly feels like it. And it certainly feels even worse when we have cards like Nexus of Fate, where it's a card that people were like, this card seems really good. And then it shows up at the Pro Tour, and then people are like, oh, this card is probably too good. But the inventory of the environment that is Standard can't really support Nexus of Fate because the price will go so high that, you know, it's just, untenable. Like it's a card that's like $40 right now because it just has to be, because there isn't that many cards out there for Nexus of Fate. Like you can't really open boxes and get Nexus of Fate because it's a WPN exclusive. So it creates this weird bottleneck that I really dislike. So I think we need to make a real effort. I feel like Watson needs to make a real effort to kind of go from Captain's Hook and then take that and then go into, a Celestial Colonnade. This was the third one ever printed for the Buy Box promo, and this card right now is, let's see, Unmodern, or right now it's, for Woodwake, it's $47 if you want just one Celestial Colonnade. It's 23 tickets online. It's one of these things where it's like, I look at all these cards, and in the standard environment, Birds of Paradise was great, Day of Judgment was pretty good, Celestial Colonnade's great, Honor of the Pure is great, but then you go to Captain's Hook, you go to Burning Sun's Avatar, Wildfire Eternal, Archfiend of Ifnir, they all kind of start to turn into junk. Like no one was just really thinking about it whenever they were going through these cards. It really does feel like that. It really does feel like someone just kind of forgot about them and it was just like, we'll just use this card as the promo. And it really just kind of falls apart. I feel like the point it starts to fall apart is probably Ruinous Path there. Or maybe even the Rabble Master here, because before that, you kind of have some decent stuff every now and then, some good stuff like Supreme Verdict, Cathedral War's okay, Silverblade Paladin's okay, Gravecaller's great, Devil Play's pretty good, Phoenix is alright, Extraction is amazing, Crusader's pretty good, this card is terrible, but again, some of these cards where they're like, even if they're terrible, that's a card that actually was like pretty decent in that particular limited environment, but I don't know what to say other than like it's really kind of obvious to me that there's been this drop in quality as far as like what picks are made for the Buy Box promo. And so my thing is, one, the Buy Box promo needs to be a card from the set, period. Needs to be a card from the set, guys. It can't be a card you make up. If it's a card you make up, you create one of two options. Either the card does nothing in the standard environment, even though it's made for standard. Like it's a card that's like, it's standard legal, so it's made for standard, just like Fire Song and Sun Speaker. I keep messing that up. Fire Song and Sun Speaker did nothing in the Dominaria standard environment. Did literally nothing. Now people built decks around it, like tried to. I mean, Saffron Elf tried to, but it did nothing really. That's one way you could do it. Make the card so unplayable that it's a card no one really wants, and so it's only good for Commander, which means that collectors and people who like Commander are going to show up to the store and buy that card, or you make a card that is almost too good or fringe good in particular decks that actually show up at the Pro Tour that can really demolish like the current meta, like red black aggro or mono red aggro, and you create this bottleneck where the card is $40. So I don't think making cards that are Buy Box promo exclusive cards is the answer. I think that's the opposite of the answer. I think the answer is stop making cards or the Buy Box promo cards like Captain's Hook and start making them like Celestial Colonnade. I think you should probably be looking at, if it's Dominaria and we want to pick a really good rare, let's pick like Lyra Dawnbringer. That would be a great Dominaria rare as a Buy Box promo. Or how about this? How about moving, instead of the rare Buy Box, make it a mythic. Make it like one of the Planeswalkers. I think that would definitely move boxes. There's definitely a movement here from rare to mythic with Nexus of Fate here. And I think that's fine. I think that's fair. And I think if you're going to move to mythic, then just name the Buy Box promo like a Planeswalker. Like if it's going to be a Planeswalker from like Core Set 2019, like make it be Sarkhan or make it be Vivian Reed. Even though both of those cards aren't really doing that well right now in the standard environment, I feel like the hype of it being a Planeswalker is enough to push it to drive sales. Again, I just don't think that making actual cards as Buy Box promos is the answer. Like I kind of thought about it, was like, I think it would probably be fine, and then I kind of like thought about it a little bit more and looked into the actual numbers here, and I just think it's one, you either make a card that does nothing and people will hate you for it, or two, you make a card that's too good and everyone hates you for it. And I think either of those options are bad options for Witches of the Coast, and they need to make a card that does things that are good, but that are also in the set. I think doing alternate art Buy Box promos is an amazing idea, and I think that's something that should be looked into, and I think it should always be mythic, and I think it always should be a card that is good in the set. You guys make the set, you know what's rare, what's mythic level, and you know what's going to be good, so make the best card the Buy Box promo. That's going to sell boxes. I don't understand, this idea that we have to make the card, random or whatever. Like you just flip a coin or something and you pick something like Captain's Hook or Burning Sun Crusader or Archfiend of Ifnir. Those are cards that do nothing, and we kind of all knew that going in, so I'm not sure what this video is. This is just me ranting for a bit about buy box promos, and I probably won't mention it again moving forward. Yeah, that was just kind of my idea of a video. I hope you guys liked it. Have a great Friday, everybody. Go to an F&M store, play some Magic. If you're not near an F&M store or near a local game store, go on Magic Online, play some Magic there. Definitely would love to see you there as well. I'm always deck testing, and I always run into some of you guys whenever I'm deck testing for the deck techs I put out during the week. But I love you all. Like if you like it, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and share this video around. Get the conversation started on buy box promos. I feel like it's something that definitely needs to be looked at. I don't think it's an opportunity to poo-poo Wizards of the Coast. I think they're trying to do the best they can with what they have. I just think that there are probably some people in that creative room that are a bit louder than other people that aren't as, well experienced with Magic the Gathering. I feel like there should be some people in there being like, I think making a card exclusive to just buy box promos is probably a bad idea, unless you want to make a lot of money and make people mad at you. If that's what they want, if that's their goal, and they don't really care about the backlash, then that's fine. That's, hey, mission succeeded, or maybe mission accomplished. But if you want people to be excited about buy box promos, and you want people to also come in to WPN stores to buy those buy box promos, make them alternate art the best card in the set, and do that. If you're afraid of people impacting the price of a card, just look at Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, which is an amazing card from Dominaria within the set. That set was opened a ton and is still being opened right now, and that card is still $30. So I don't really see the argument on there's too many copies, it's going to be flooding the market, especially when it's on such a limited product like a WPN exclusive. You may have only so many thousand copies of that and it's gone. I think that's a fair idea to do. I think that's a good idea. But let me know in the comments below what you guys think. I love you all, and yeah, see you guys in the next video where I don't talk about the buy box promos ever again. Alright guys, peace.
Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel for more awesome MTG content just like this. And make sure to tap the bell icon to be notified whenever a video is made live. If you want to keep watching content, here are 2 more videos for you. This video and many others are sponsored by MTGO Traders and Cape Fear Games. Buy and sell digital singles to build your online collection today with MTGO Traders, and get your paper singles, accessories, and much more from Cape Fear Games. Whatever your Magic needs, both places have you covered.